I made a decision about 2 or 3 hours ago, but it was incomplete. So I want to highlight some insights around that in the present moment. If you're new, this is my video journal. It's never intended to be advice or guidance. I'm just expressing what I'm thinking and feeling in the present moment. So I'm just realizing how important it is to create space for contemplation, or even just to be without distraction, without purpose, without intent, and just allow your internal world to rearrange itself. It's not something sometimes that you can actively do. It's like doing a puzzle, actually. Like, you know, all of these pieces need to fit together, but you don't know where the piece is that you need next. And it's just a process of being with the puzzle until something jumps out at you. And then quite often you have these moments where 20 pieces will all of a sudden make sense, and it will all come together, and you'll see a little bit more of the picture. It's the same with like arranging your own life. So I say I made a decision, but it was really more like I set the intention. This is what I want to occur. Even though in that moment in time, I couldn't see how it was all going to work. Like, actually, I wouldn't quite go as far as using the word impossible. But when I very first decided that that's what I wanted to happen, and I'm intentionally not giving you the specifics because I want to talk more abstract so that other people can fill in the blanks with their own lives. It felt very difficult. It felt like it was going to be... It generated a lot of anxiety, actually, at recalling right now. Like, I've been quite anxious because I knew that there's something important that I wanted to do, but it appeared to create conflict with so many other things. And what that looked like physically was me staring at my calendar and just seeing all of these things that would have to happen simultaneously without any mistakes for this, for everything to unfold as I would like it to unfold. And so the last few hours I've just been sitting with it, and I've had like these little mini revelations, and most of them I could sum up in a few words. Actually, that doesn't matter. Like, that's the realization that I had about so many of these obstacles that I first perceived when I was looking at my calendar. I was like, I could lose that opportunity, or I could not go to that appointment, or, you know, the thing that I want to do is actually more important. So it actually makes a lot of these obstacles irrelevant. Like, they're not priorities, but I needed to go through the contemplation to decide that those things weren't important, because we think, or like it feels sometimes, that all of the information in our awareness is nicely organized into little cabinets, and it all makes sense, and we know where all of the ideas and beliefs and things are, but it's not. It's a scrambled mess of absurdity a lot of the time. It's not how a human ego would like it to be. It's not this library of organized documents like inside your awareness. You know what I mean? It's this flowing, chaotic, changing realm of possibility. And if you really want to create any kind of order out of that, you need to deal with the chaos. Like, you need to deal with the what your awareness is as it is. And perhaps it's like, you know, some people it is an organized, I don't know, like it's an organized library of everything's documented and it's in its correct place and it's labeled, and they know exactly who they are and what needs to occur, and the appointments are all scheduled, and it feels very linear and direct. But I imagine we're all somewhere on this spectrum in between a place like that and in between total chaos where nothing is organized and it's total abstract absurdity. Like I don't think anybody like just absolutely has life pegged. And I think if you were living a life where everything was so organized, you would probably go insane, because there's no freedom in that. There's no space for creativity or spirit. So that's what I wanted to highlight. Just the simple fact that it took me a few hours to not to make the decision, but to make the decision real. Because I could have just, looked at my calendar for a minute and thought I'd really like to do this thing that's important to me, and then thought, no, it's too hard. There's too many moving parts. I can't compute, and just like gone and done something to escape, to distract myself. Years ago would have got drunk or high or played video games, and just time would have just passed. I wouldn't have organized my thoughts, and the thing that was important wouldn't have occurred. But now I will spend 3 hours doing nothing. Actually, it involves a lot of pacing. Sometimes I just lay on the floor under the fan and just let my thoughts run, because they've got to run. Like I can't, if the thoughts don't get thought, they are just mess in there sometimes. So I let them organize themselves, or just let a thought be thought, and then it's done and it's completed its purpose. And then I can think something else. And sometimes it feels like there's just an infinite stream of stuff in my head that I didn't really intend to put in there. And it comes from like social media and the news that is now embedded in social media. Like you're like not interested in hearing about any of this stuff at all, but it's just a part of YouTube now. Like, make sure you remember COVID, or it's just everywhere. And we're like voluntarily subscribing to it as well, because it's just become a part of our culture. Because even if you've avoided the programming, your friends or your family or somebody is subscribing to something. And even if they're subscribing to the counter narrative, like it's still, it's unavoidable. There's something somewhere that's going to hijack your awareness. So like there's all of that stuff in there as well that I'm just like, okay, let that pass through me so that I can get back to contemplating what's important to me. I'm trying to make a plan. I don't know if that's relatable. I'm trying not to worry about whether it's relatable or not, because the people that, I don't know who stumbles across this stuff, but it seems to resonate very deeply with some of you. So I'm just going to keep documenting my thoughts and feelings in the present moment. I feel like I'm evolving rapidly at the moment, and I feel like that is due in part to this self-isolation that I'm doing again for the third time in an 18-month period. And this time I don't intend to break the self-isolation. Not permanently. So my lifestyle at the moment, I've been joking. I call it like I'm like in my monk in the cave phase, and I only come out of the cave to do very specific things, and then I retreat back, and it's just me and myself, and I'm working on myself, and there's no other contributors to my identity at the moment. I'm like, if you're familiar with the journals, it was only last year that I first spent an extended period of time just with myself. Like, I've identified in the past as a serial monogamist, like always in a relationship. I need to have like somebody to complete me, that whole rigmarole. But I've been convincing myself, like, okay, I've been through that growth now, and I can now be in a relationship. So I get involved with somebody, and then I find out actually there's more layers to the onion that I need to work through, because now there's like, there was one unhealthy attachment thing that I had going on, and now there's another one. So yeah, this time my intention is to remain independent and have my own space, and I will explore relating with others, but I won't I'm not in any hurry to go out and fuse my universe with another person's universe. We will visit each other's universes, and that's about as far as I want to go for the foreseeable future, maybe forever. I've been contemplating it, like, if you want to have an extraordinary relationship, like, maybe don't do the things that we're socially conditioned to do. Maybe your entire relationship, you could have your own space, your own house even, and never move in together. Like, wouldn't that be wild? And one of the things that motivated me as a young man, and this is something that I've wanted to talk about on the journal for a while, because I think a lot of young fellas, like I just wish I heard this. Like, I wanted to team up with somebody because it was economical. It made sense. Like, we could go halves in the rent and the food, and we could live so cheaply, and then we could save more money, and then we could do more of the things that we would like to do. But then the emotional cost of sharing space and sharing time with somebody else, well, you're both underdeveloped. Like, you haven't figured out who you are yet. You haven't really forged a path through life for yourself yet. There's a lot of challenges and things going on that you need to do on your own, but you're not really, like, you've now got this other person who you can blame, who you can escape with, all of these, like, things that you do when you're young, or that you could possibly do while you're young. And yeah, I just wish that somebody sat me down and said, like, look, get your shit straight first. Go and get your own space, figure out who you are, figure out what you want. No reason that you can't explore relationships, but just, like, don't fuse your universe with another person's universe. Like, have enough space for yourself to continue to explore yourself while you're exploring other people and other options, and slow down. That's what I'm learning a lot. Just slow down. I wanted to, like, when I was younger, I wanted to do everything right now. I think it's quite common in, like, you want the successful career and all the accolades and the status symbols. Like, you want a flash car, a flash house, you want the hot girlfriend, and the career that's going really well. And, like, but the thing is, when I was younger, I didn't even know what any of that stuff was. All I knew was, like, nothing. I knew fucking nothing. I just had this idea of, like, money, success, and beautiful women, and there was no foundation beneath that. It was just like a poster on the wall, like, metaphorically. Like, it was just, I didn't understand how to build a life at all. Like, I had no idea, and I still have no idea. I'm still learning what's possible, and I'm really excited about it, because, like, your model of reality when you're young, especially if you're just programmed by the school and the TV, and nobody ever really mentors you outside of that, which I'm very fortunate that as a filmmaker, it's exposed me to all of these revolutionary ideas and things, like, and these incredible people that think so far outside the box and live their lives so differently. But like, if you never have access to any of that, like, your model of reality is so limited and you have no idea what's possible. And it's actually, it makes you feel jaded. It makes you feel like, what's the point? There's like nothing worthwhile about being here on this planet. And that's just like the opposite of the truth. There's so much possibility here. There's so much freedom here. There's so much to explore and learn. And you know, as I'm learning more and freeing myself more, I'm seeing that I'm not limited at all. I thought I was so limited. I thought that I had to do so many things just to have the most simple, basic life that would be pleasurable and enjoyable and nice. It's not true. It's not how it is at all. And then, you know, there's so many stages to this. Like, you go through the guilt, like, do I deserve to have abundance and freedom and joy, and while so many other people are struggling? And it's like, you have to actually go forth on the journey of abundance and creativity and freedom to be the example for the next person who's gonna need a mentor that's outside the box. Like, you can't just stay in the old reality, the programmed reality of like, this is all there is. You need to go and create something new and exciting and different so that you can inspire the next generation. Like, if there was ever an era where there were no free thinkers and no people that shook things up and lived outside the box and explored and went on the hero's journey, that could be the end of it. Like, it could just turn into that grey dystopian future, like that totalitarian world. But I do also have that inclination that the human spirit is always going to explode out of that. Like, even if you completely controlled the entire world and crushed it into conformity, I think the motivation of spirit just gets stronger, like it to just explode out of that. Like, the perfect metaphor is the flowers popping up out of the concrete pavement. Very popular metaphor. You know, like, nature always finds a way, and you are that. Like, that force of nature that always finds a way to overcome the control, like the manipulation that is done to it through like pouring concrete or whatever. You know, nature always finds a way, and like, that lives inside of you too. So even if, you know, humanity manipulates itself into oblivion, that very same force is going to come forth and just, you know, like, change. It's just going to change everything. Can we wipe ourselves out completely? Who knows? But then even, you know, it would just all start over again. You know, it's never going to stop. Consciousness, spirit, like, it's here to be expressed. If you got anything out of this video and you think you know somebody else who may benefit, please pass it on. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave your comments down below. And I'll see you when I'm looking at you.